Chapter 3 Network Protocols and Communication. And they divided the Chapter 3 into 3.1 Rules of Communication, 3.2 Network Protocols and Standard, 3.3 Data Transfer in a Network. 3.1 Rules of Communication explain how rules facilitate communication. Describe the types of rules that are necessary to successfully communicate. Communication fundamentals. All communication methods have three elements in common: source or sender, destination or receiver, channel or media. Rules of protocols govern all methods of communication. Upon completion of this section, you should be able to describe the types of rules that are necessary to successfully communicate. Like in the human communication or computer, we do have a message source. It was always going to be a source, and there's always going to be a destination. That's what we know. Send the message. That's what we want to communicate. And then we're gonna need some kind of a signal to send that message, and then we use a transmission medium, for example. If for human, that would be the air we use to speak. Of all the computers, they can use their air as well, which is wireless, or they can use copper, or they can use fiber, which is optical. Rules establishment. Protocols are necessary for effective communication and include an identify sender and receiver, common language and grammar, speed and timing of delivery, confirmation or acknowledgement requirement. Next is protocol used in network communication, also defined: message encoding, message delivery option, message formatting encapsulation, message timing, and message size. Message encoding. Encoding between hosts must be in appropriate format for the medium. Messages are first converted into bits by the sending host. Each bit is encoded into a pattern of sounds, light waves, or electrical impulses depending on the network media. The destination host receives and it decodes the signal in order to interpret the message. Message formatting and encapsulation. There is an agreed format for letters and addressing letters which is required for proper delivery. Putting the letter in the addressed envelope is called encapsulation. Each computer's message is encapsulated in a specific format called frame before it is sent over the network. A frame acts like an envelope, providing destination, address, and source address. The rules: message size. Humans break long messages into smaller parts or sentences. Long messages must always be broken into smaller pieces to travel across the network. Each piece is sent in a separate frame, and each frame has its own addressing information. A receiving host will reconstruct multiple frames into the original message. Message timing. Access method. Hosts on a network need to know when to begin sending messages and how response when collision occurs. Flow control. Source and destination hosts use flow control to negotiate correct timing to avoid overwhelming the destination and ensure information is received. Response timer. Hosts on the network have rules that specify how long to wait for responses and what action to take if response timeout occurs. And we have the last element of protocol, the message delivery option. There are three delivery options. First is unicast message, multicast message, and last broadcast message. Unicast means one sender and one receiver. It means this sender is going to send data to exactly one receiver in the network. If the sender is sending the data to exactly one direction, it is called unicast. If the sender sends the data to set of receivers but not to all, then it's called multicast. Broadcasting means the sender sends the data to all the participants in the network. Then we call as broadcast.
So, rules that govern communication. Protocol suites are implemented by host and networking device in software, hardware, or both. The protocol are viewed in terms of layer, with each higher level service depending on the functionality defined by the protocol shown in the lower level. So here is the example picture. Content layer, where is the cafe? So some basic conversation protocol suite. Use common language, wait your turn, signal when finished. So network protocol. Networking protocols define as common format and set of rules for exchanging message between devices. Some common networking protocols are hypertext transfer protocol, transmission control protocols, and internet protocols. And as well, there is an example outline format of structure of communication piece. Protocol interaction communication between a web server and web client is an example of an interaction between several protocols. HTTP, an application protocol that governs the way web server and a web client interact. TCP, transport protocol that manages the individual conversations. IP, encapsulate the TCP segment into packets, assign address, and delivers to the destination host. Ethernet, allow communication over a data link and physical transmission of data on the network media. So basically, protocol suites are industry standards. A protocol suite is a set of protocols that work together to provide comprehensive network communication services. May be specified by a standards organization or developed by a vendor. The TCP/IP protocol suite is an open standard. The protocols are freely available, and any vendor is able to implement these protocols on their hardware or in their software. And again, here is an example of the table of protocol suite. So, protocol suite development of TCP and IP. Advanced, established to develop and promote the concept of open standard. So, Internet standard. Internet society promote open development, evolution of Internet use globally. Internet Architecture Board, Management and Development of Internet Standard. Internet Engineering Task Force, develop updates and maintain the Internet and TCP/IP technologies. Internet Research Task Force, focus on long-term research related to Internet and TCP/IP protocols. Internet Corporation for assign names and numbers, coordinate IP address, allocate, and management of domain names. Internet Assign Numbers Authority, manage IP address allocation, domain name management, and protocols identifiers for ICANN. So the Standard Organization, Electronic and Communication Standard Organization, Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, engineers dedicated to advancing technology innovation and creating standards in a wide area of industries including networking. So basically, Electronic Industries Alliance is standard related to electrical wiring, connectors, and network racks. And as well, Telecommunication Industry Association, standard for radio equipment, cellular towers, voice over devices, and satellite communications. And as well, the last, International Telecommunication Union Telecommunication Standardization Sector, standards for video compression, internet protocol television, and broadband communication. So the benefit of using layered model. The benefit of using layered model include assisting in protocol design, since protocol each layer have defined function, fostering competition because produced from different vendor can work together, preventing technology changes in one layer from affecting in other layers, providing a common language to describe networking function and capabilities. So as well, the OSI reference model application contain protocol used for process communication, presentation, provide for common representation of the data. Session provide service to the presentation layer to organize a dialogue and manage data exchange. Transport define service to segment transfer to the resemble data. A network provides services to exchange individual pieces of data over the network between identifiers and devices. And data link provide method of for exchanging data frame between device over a common media. And physical, lastly, describe the mechanical, electrical, functional, and procedural means to transmit bits across physical connection. So the TCP/IP protocol model create in early 1970s for Internet Network Communication Open Standard, also called the TCP/IP model for Internet model. So the model and TCP/IP model comparison. In the OSI model, the network access layer and the application layer of the TCP/IP model are further divided to describe a discrete function that must occur this layer.